I'm Travis Bader, and this is the Silvercore Podcast. Silvercore has been providing its members with the skills and knowledge necessary to be confident and proficient in the outdoors for over 20 years, and we make it easier for people to deepen their connection to the natural world. If you enjoy the positive and educational content we provide, please let others know by sharing, commenting, and following so that you can join in on everything that Silvercore stands for. If you'd like to learn more about becoming a member of the Silvercore Club and community, visit our website at silvercore.ca. When it comes to police officers making arrests, the difference between cooperative and uncooperative arrestees is profound. In a world where the optics of police use of force is under an increasingly focused spotlight, tactics that police use to expedite arrest and mitigate injury are essential. I'm joined by a retired police constable, use of force expert, non-firearm weapons expert, and a whole slew of other accolades, who has written the book Comprehensive Joint Locking Techniques for Law Enforcement. If you're looking to add some highly useful and innovative tools to your arsenal, or you're seeking to street-proof your martial arts, this book is for you. Welcome to the Silvercore Podcast, Al Arsenault.
Thank you, Travis. It's a pleasure to be here.
I love it. We're going to be adding some tools to their arsenal with Al Arsenault.
Yeah, no pun intended.
No pun intended. Your book's amazing, by the way. I've been reading through it. It was hard to put down. I really like the way it's written. It is easy to read, well put together, tons of graphics for somebody like myself who really likes to kind of flip to different pages and dive right into things.
Pictures and arrows and
how to move. And
yeah.
One of the things that I thought was really neat was in the beginning of the book, and you're listing off some of the people who have helped you in your journey and your process through police judo. And one of them was a letter of praise from the BC Civil Liberties Association.
Unlikely as that may be, Michael Vaughn, she was introduced to us through retired VPD Inspector Ken Frail. He's our ethics advisor. And he says, you got to meet this woman. And I don't want you to do with BC Civil Liberties, come on. No. And he goes, no, seriously. And so she came out. She was a delightful lady. Yeah. She really respected what we were doing, and she did judo herself.
Oh, really?
Which was the real hook. And she saw what we were doing, and she loved it. And she actually promoted it in their newsletter. And she goes, BC Civil Liberties is not all about just bashing police. We're just calling it like it is. So if all negative stuff comes across her desk, then that's what she reports on. But she heard about this positive thing that police judo, what it's capable of doing in terms of controlling people instead of beating them into submission. And she had high praise for our tactics.
I thought that was pretty neat. Like, of all places, you're going to see something that is going to be in support of police force from the BC Civil Liberties Association, which really speaks volumes to what it is that you and others have been doing with the police judo. Could you give me, I know I've got some background. I've been following the police judo for a while, but can you just kind of enlighten me a little bit about how that came about and what it's about?
Well, it goes back to, when I first signed up for the VPD in 1979, I was studying karate, and then by 1986, I was a third-degree black belt in karate. But and I was thinking about going in the police academy as a use of force instructor, thinking that, I've got like 5-6 years on the job. I know quite a bit.
Right.
I know nothing from what I know now. Right. So I ended up not going at that time. Instead, I took a year's leave of absence from the police department.
Right.
And Expo
86.
Don't miss it for the world.
And you did?
Yeah, I did. The year I went traveling, I told the VPD I want to take a year's leave of absence. And they said, no, we don't give a year's leave of absence. We'll give you 6 months to finish a degree. And And I went, I met with a deputy chief at the time, and I said, well, we can't do it. And I said, okay, well, I'll quit.
Right.
He goes, are you serious? I said, yeah. And I said, well, he says to me, there's no guarantee we'll hire you back on. And I said, that's okay. Other departments are hiring a first-class constable, stellar record up to that date. And
you're top of your class too, and he came in.
Yeah, I was the chief's choice, as they called it, the top recruit in my class. And then I was police officer of the year.
It was 05?
Yes, in the last year of work. And I tell people in my 27 years, that the first and last years were really good. So it's all about appearances. Starting and finishing strong. The middle of 25 years, quarter of a decade, are a little bit dodgy, but
I'll leave a good impression anyways, right?
Yeah. So anyways, I took this leave of absence and I went around the world and looked at I was looking for the ultimate martial art for police. And not necessary to pick up techniques here and there, which I did do. But I looked around, and there's a number of things that police academies were doing. They were teaching whatever the instructor knew.
Right.
Because that's what he's most comfortable teaching, and it's what he's best at. And then somehow the recruits would have to try and make it work on the street. And some of these techniques that they were teaching aren't necessarily translatable or easily translatable, just because if you're a Taekwondo guy and you can kick a knife out of somebody's hand, that I wouldn't recommend teaching that to recruits. Right. So that was a problem. And then so somebody in that gym, the training gym, should have some expertise or
a little school of hard knocks, maybe.
Yeah. Somebody they should have what it takes to make this stuff work. And so instead of teaching what they know, they should say, well, what do you need to know? Oh, I'm a boxer, but geez, it looked like you do a little bit of wrestling. It looked like you do a bit about joint locking. So me as the instructor with the aptitude in martial arts, I should be learning I should be teaching you, not you learn I'll teach you boxing, and then you try and figure out how that translates into getting handcuffs on somebody.
Right.
So that was a problem, and of course trainers they're very parochial. They just teach what their department teaches, and they teach this over here, and there's no real sort of unified system of martial arts or control tactics for policing. Right. So there's a number of problems like that I saw, and I came back a bit disillusioned. I went, darn, I was looking for something really good, and so I just kept. So I got out of karate, and then I got into wushu, the Chinese martial arts, shui jiao, which it's like throwing techniques without any groundwork.
Okay,
and China, the joint locking techniques, and this and that. So I did that, and I liked the China quite a bit. And then it was wasn't direct enough. It was a little bit airy-fairy for policing purposes, and it's artistry, right?
Sure.
So I left ostensibly to go study ground fighting because shui jiao doesn't do any ground fighting, and. So I joined Judo at the police station under, initially Tim Laidler and then Brian Schipper.
Right.
Took it over, Brian Schipper being a civilian. And I started Judo, and I really liked it and I thought out of all the martial arts that I've seen, Judo is probably the most practical because you say you are under arrest. What follows next? You got to lay hands on the guy, especially if he's not being cooperative. So Judo does that. Where in karate, you're under arrest. No, I'm not.
And you start striking.
So I'm going to start breaking your kneecaps and punching, knocking you out to get you into cuffs.
It doesn't look too good.
No, it doesn't look good, and it's a hard way to arrest somebody. So I went through that whole process, and then I came out the other end being a little bit Judo was at that time was a little bit more still following the sports mode, even though we got out of the competition, or the instructor Brian took it out of the competition mode entirely, and but it was still classic Judo being taught two police at a police station. So it was loosely by name only called Police Judo. But then I ended up retiring in 2006, and I was minding my own business in Thailand, like all good stories happen. And Sergeant Brad Fawcett phoned me up, and him and acting sergeant, I guess, Ken Rensby, were at the police academy in 2008, and they were having classes of 44, 48 people with the two of them. So the student-teacher ratio was a bit off there. And so he got a hold of me and said, do you want to come back and be a use of force instructor? And I said, I'll come back as a contractor, meaning that when the students are in the gym, I'll show up, but I don't want to write reports. I don't want to disciplines, recruits, and all that stuff. I'll just come in and teach you, but under a couple of conditions. One of them being I want to be able to help revamp the training program because I was a field trainer before I left, and I saw some deficiencies in the training. And he said, fair enough, don't want to say, you're a contractor, just shut up.
Relegated to the corner.
We're doing that. So that was agreed upon. And like I say, I get to show up when they're in the gym. So I agreed, and I came, taught for less than 2 years until the 2010 Olympics came. Right. And they had a glut of officers after that.
Yes.
And they didn't even need one instructor at the academy because they had so many surplus officers at that time.
Really?
And then I switched over to the Law Enforcement Studies Diploma. I was asked to create 3 courses. These are for people that want to go into policing.
Sure.
And I had a really strong my entire career pretty well was on the street as I was in the CFL club, Constable for Life.
Okay.
And I stuck to the street because that was my passion. And as a result of all that, I made almost 2,000 criminal code arrests, like people for offenses. And then I probably double that for breaking up fights and breaches of the peace and arresting drunks. And,
is that for your entire career?
Yeah, 27 years. So, and that's
unheard of.
That's the top 1 percentile easily for arrests. I know police officers have been on the job for 20 years, and I don't think they've made 20 arrests.
You have to have, just a real passion for what you're doing.
Well, yeah, and then part of the reason for that is because half my career was spent working in the downtown east side, where sometimes I was arresting 3, 4 people, 5, 6, 7 people in a night.
Right.
And I have to handcuff them to each other because
you're running out.
Yeah. I remember one time my partner, Toby Hinton, were in front of the Region Hotel, and we couldn't move for 2 hours. Like people were coming across the street to beg to be arrested. They're coming around the corner getting arrested. They're left and right, and I was expecting somebody to come out of a window and expect to be arrested. And we couldn't move. We had them all sitting down there, like 3, 4 people, and then the wagon would come, and then somebody else would stumble around the thing. We couldn't. It's like, my goodness, it was like the black hole of arrests.
So either a passion or perhaps a passion and a combination for having a nose for it.
What is it? Invention is the mother of necessity. So if you look at what we were offered down there, we had lay hands on many, many, many hundreds, thousands of people in the course of my duties down there. And Toby Hinton, too, spent his whole entire career down there, more than like 23 years, is that people don't deserve to have their arm broken or their jaw busted because they want to fight you.
Right.
A lot of times they're mentally ill, they're on drugs, or they're more fighting themselves than anything. And and after you wade into this crucible of chaos and carnage, and it becomes less personalized when people want to resist arrest. That's their job. Their job is to hide the drugs and run away from the police, and our job is to catch them. So it's nothing personal. I mean, they didn't choose to try and fight with me because of me.
Right. Could have been you or anybody.
Yeah, anybody. Yeah. So it's just, so you take it less personally, and then I just look at it as a challenge. I have so many martial arts skills, and it was nice to be able to, let's go try this or try that.
It's like a puzzle.
Yeah, so it's a puzzle. It needs solving, and
Right.
as gently as possible. And I've had one use of force complaint leveled at me in my entire career.
I actually did a search, and I was surprised for somebody with your background and your passion and everything else, that nothing shows up in there.
Well, if you search under, I don't know, harm reduction or through Odd Squad, Toby and I started Odd Squad back in 1997. We basically trying to educate youth mainly about gangs or drugs and gangs.
Right.
And so we just had our 25th year gala anniversary, so we're still going strong. And Toby's the workhorse behind that operation. And then in 2010, we formally started police judo.
Right.
Again, I asked Toby to, let's start this new martial art for policing, because I realized that through my travels around the world and through my own experience, and judo was the best base martial art, but it still was steeped in rules of sport.
Right, tradition.
And the street has no rules of sport. There's no refs. There's no mats.
There's no ethics.
Yeah, there's no ethics. Exactly, right. Exactly. And morality is just thrown out the window. So on their end, our end, we have to still have to toe the line. Yeah, we're the criminal code applies to us, and they don't even want to hear that word. So we started police judo as a new martial art in 2010. And even though the roots go back further, like even back to my search in 1986,
right?
So that's how police judo evolved, and it evolved because of the necessity of laying hands on so many people, and doing it in an ethical manner, an effective manner, and practical manner. So,
well, you've also taught tactical communications for government organizations, and
mostly with Parks Canada.
Right.
I've been coast to coast. I went Pacific Rim National Park all the way up to Halifax, and mostly during the 90s. But I still teach it on occasion. Yeah.
And that's always I find really interesting, because I find that part of the puzzle very fun as well. I find both parts of the puzzle very fun, but the puzzle of how can we de-escalate through tactical communication and gain compliance.
I don't even understand the concept of de-escalation, really, from my perspective, because I come from a position, I'm an ethical officer.
Right.
Somebody's trying to, wants to fight with me, so I just don't knuckle down on the guy. To me, it's just like, I'm already, you can't, de-escalation is not a verb. I can't de-escalate someone. I can control the factors that I bring into the altercation or interaction.
Right.
But it's almost... I almost feel insulted that I have to take or I'd be asked to take a course in de-escalation. I go, well, no, I don't start off high. It's like tactical communication. Right. You start off slow,
right,
and you go in deeper and deeper, and then you get to the ultimate, whatever your bottom line is, you get there.
Right.
And that's the way I've always done it. So people are saying, well, you think I'm coming in guns a-blazing, and then I have to de-escalate the situation, which I can do with myself, but I can't do with the person I'm dealing with necessarily, because if they don't want to play that game,
you can provide them the options,
exactly,
but it's their choice at the end.
So this de-escalation concept, maybe some people need to know that or be reminded of. Just because he's all jacked up doesn't mean you have to go exactly where he is. You can you can start off a little more gentler or slower, or more tactically slowly. But I don't like that de-escalation. It comes from an assumption that police,
the connotation behind
it. The connotation that police are always going to be heavy-handed.
No, I don't like that. And when I say it, I mean how you can de-escalate the situation or the individual by perhaps providing them those tools so that they can make the right decision before it gets to a point where you reduce those
Which
options.
is the basis of tactical communications. You're thinking for them like they'd be thinking 3 or 4 days down the road after they've gotten out of jail and they've got their court date set, and because they're angry, they're drunk, they're on drugs, they're enraged or whatever.
Right.
The situation is just too much for them to handle rationally. And so that's what the essence of tactical communication is, saying, oh, you gotta slow down here. Think about this. This is the reason why I'm asking you to do what you're doing. You're setting context, and then you're presenting options, saying you can go down this road, this road, this road, and this is what each of them looks like, and this is what the end of the road looks like for that. And then finally confirming, does no mean no? Or is there some conditions that you'd like attached to it? Now, they might say, kiss my ass. Well, that ain't going to happen. But it might be, before I boot me out of the bar, which I'm fighting to get out of, I want to get my jacket. It's hanging on my seat.
That's an easy
and why didn't you
solution.
tell me that in the first place instead of saying, I'm not leaving. And then you get them outside after a big fight. They're not thinking right. So you say, before you lay hands on them, you say, is there anything I can do or say to help me to gain your cooperation in this matter? I like to think there is. And they go, yeah, give me my jacket. Well, duh. Yeah, okay, that's doable.
Right.
Or I'm going to drink my last half of a beer. You can do that.
Sure,
but
whatever.
A lot of guys slap the beer out of the guy's hand. The fight's on because
he didn't listen.
Yeah, he didn't listen. He didn't go right now. And having half the beer is him saying basically, screw you.
Which you're allowed to do.
Which
it's a game.
Yeah, so is it worth getting into a fight because the guy wants to show his friends and I'm drinking half my beer before I leave?
That's
say what you want, but do as I say. So bye-bye. You know,
Right.
and then you're gone and you're the hero and problem solved. But anyways, getting back to the essence of using force, I mean, we've never been under more of a microscope than now with Black Lives Matter and all these people wanting to defund the police. They're looking for any reason to smear the police. And hitting people, in essence, looks bad. There's a couple of things that police judo avoids. One, hitting people looks bad, so we avoid that. We use joint locking techniques, and also holding people is highly ineffectual. Like grabbing them to typical by the collar. I've got a collar. That's the old, police.
collar the perp.
Yeah, collar the perp. That was, and some police literally did that, and there's no control. So the difference between holding and controlling is immense. Mm-hmm. It's like the difference between sport techniques in martial arts and street techniques is immense. The mentality, the different, and one of them being police judo also avoids going to the ground, which jiu-jitsu techniques. Police like flocking to these. Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu courses, and it's flawed to me, in my mind, right from the very outset, because the ground is not the police officer's friend. You don't want to be there.
Well,
now you might be taken to the ground, but even if you do, in police judo we do ground fighting, but we ground fight with the ultimate purpose of getting up,
right? Not
to submit,
because when you submit, be on the ground and get kicked in the head by everybody's friends.
Yeah, your head looks like a soccer ball,
right?
It's 6 inches off the ground. So there's a bunch of things that we've improved in control tactics through police judo. And this book here that has just come out here, Comprehensive Joint Locking Techniques for Law Enforcement, is just one part of a book that I was writing. I started about probably over 10 years ago. The book would be this thick.
Well, I saw in the book you're referencing future books that you're going to dedicate the next 10 years
And I realized after 10 years of writing, I went, this book could be too thick. So I just took out what is most what's the most important stuff that police need to do right now. So I extracted the joint locking aspects out of police judo. And I say, okay, this is one book. There'll be a book on ground fighting. There'll be a book on punching and kicking.
Sure.
Because there's times and places where you have to do those things. There'll be a book on handcuffing and searching. There'll be a book on, various aspects of police judo as it is now. And but this is the first of that series. So I realized that in police judo, it's about controlling somebody, and controlling by the difference between controlling and holding is the presence or absence of pain. So if it's a pain compliance technique, that's controlling somebody.
Okay.
So if you grab somebody by the shoulder, by the collar, well, there's no pain associated with that, and the person can fight back. And for the viewers out there, if you have to grab somebody, say with one hand, there's only one place to do that, to be able to, even though it's holding, you can still divert the force that your opponent wants to use against you, and that's just grab them just behind the elbow, just above the elbow, and standing in this blind spot. You stand there, or even grab both hands on there, if the person's really strong, and move. If he tries to move to turn into it, you move. You stay in that blind spot and you hold on to that arm. And if he tries to punch you with the other arm, you just thrust the elbow out towards that. Or if he tries to kick you, you drive the elbow down. Or if he tries to spin around and back fist you, you drive the elbow towards the direction of the incoming force, and it neutralizes the force. That's the only hold I would recommend.
Right.
The rest of them, you got to put a little pain on it, or be able to put pain on it in a real jiffy. So you can get somebody into a joint locking technique without applying the pain, but you're ready to go.
Right.
So if he starts resisting all of a sudden, then you amp it up, and so you're just outside, just at the start of the person's range of motion. Then you can crank it up to get to the, towards the end of the range of motion. That's where the pain begins.
Do you ever find you run into people who are highly pain tolerant, whether just because drugs
people
or
on
mindset?
Crystal meth, people are mentally ill, even goal-oriented people. Same people that pepper spray doesn't work on.
Right.
You want it to work on those three categories of people, but generally it's the one that fails on. Pepper spray works best on sober police officers after it bounces off the forehead and your partner gets it. So
that's right.
He's in a world of pain, but the other guy's just blinking and thinking, I've cooked with shit hotter than this. But so it's talking about use of force and handcuffing. They still teach this pressure point control tactics method of bending from the waist, put your arms behind your back, and all this stuff. They teach that as a method of handcuffing, and it's totally.
It's kind of the gospel out there for some time, wasn't it?
Yeah, well, it still is. And then, what about the guy that's got two fingers up and bleeding from the forehead and no shirt on? He's on crystal meth and saying, "Screw you." What about that? How does that work? It doesn't.
Not very well.
You need these kind of techniques. Either you're getting the person into a joint lock, causing some pain, or if the lights are on and no one's home, then basically you're using the arm as a tether to take him down into an inferior position as he's face down. You don't want to give him a dirt nap right away, but you're in a position to do that if it's required, and that's the way to go. I mean, so handcuffing is a real. It's a perishable skill. It's a real art form, and there's some very novel techniques in here. I'm just about to enroll online course called H-Cuff, the hands-on control using functional force, and it's brilliant if I don't say so myself.
Yes,
because it's very practical, and it's probably the most advancement in handcuffing in the last 50 years.
Really?
You get instructors are talking about how you interlock your fingers at the front, or all just superficial crap.
Yeah.
Whereas we got a technique called the chain link lock or cuff link lock, where you put the handcuff on somebody and then you use the prying down of the chain on. So you're using the joint lock to retain your control over somebody, and you can still have one hand free to shake the hand. So things like that are really, really. I've never been taught before.
Well, I haven't seen it.
No, I made it up. I mean,
there you go. That's why.
I call it chinna, sort of joint locking chinna. I call it chain na. And I realized that, I'm going, you can get a lot of purchase on that.
Yeah.
So the handcuffing is, even though it's a required or necessary skill, police still don't practice it, and the techniques are given are useless. Like if a person's bending over their waist, turning their feet out, bending forward, thumbs up, if they're doing all that stuff, just throw them the handcuffs. Say, hey, do you mind putting these on behind your back? Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
What of the crystal meth guy? That doesn't get you any closer to handcuffing him there. And then police, when they see it's going to be a potentially violent situation, they're confused between, like, the person might have a weapon, you pull your gun out at the low ready. Now you're ahead of the game, right? That makes sense. So if he all of a sudden he reaches in, boom, you just up off the ground, and you can double tap the guy. Police think that, this is hairy, so I'm going to get my handcuffs out in preparation, kind of like the low ready, but it's not. You've just handcuffed yourself because you're a better martial artist or a police tactician than I am. If you can have your handcuffs in one hand and get that guy under control with your free hand, one free hand, then you're better than I am, because I need both hands to manipulate the person, to get him on the ground, get him into a position where he can't resist you any further, then I can put the handcuff on. But they're almost in panic mode. They go, oh my God, I'm ahead of the game here. I got my handcuffs in my hand, and it does the reverse. And then, of course, when they get them under control, they're looking around for their handcuffs because they had to let go.
Of course.
Because they need both hands to lay hands on somebody who's being violent. So whenever, and this, if you see, arrests gone badly.
Right.
The person ends up being shot.
Sure.
Right? And then you go, oh, okay. Then you play the frame back a little bit. Why did he shoot him? The bad guy's got the baton, the officer's baton, is about to hit him in the head, and he shoots him.
Sure.
Fair. Does he have a weapon that could injure or kill you? Does he, did you tell him to drop the baton? Did he fail to do that? Yeah. So, it's green light, check, boom. But then that's the final frame analysis. But hold on, he's got the officer's baton. How did that happen?
Right.
So you roll that, the tape back a little further. And the officer's, hitting him ineffectually. And the guy just being, what is this? The guy's being pestiferous at the best. And he just strips the baton because the officer doesn't know how to use it, doesn't know how to retain it. And then, but why is he hitting him? Why did the baton come out? So you roll the tape back, and there's the officer he's holding on to the guy rather than controlling him, using some pain, and doing it rather ineffectually. So he's losing. The guy just busts out because the guy's not under control. He's being held ineffectually.
Right.
And then the officer starts to panic, and he pulls out his baton. And then you roll that back, and maybe you get into TACCOM. Maybe you think, the guy's he's getting into a fight with him because he's being maybe he is coming in too hard. He didn't use his TACCOM. He didn't try and go from the bottom up, and he incenses the guy to the point where the guy ends up begging to be arrested because of what the officer has said. Maybe he could have talked him down a little bit or got him to cooperate and whatever like that, but it doesn't happen. You see, so there's a series of failures, and guaranteed every one of these uses of force where the perpetrator gets shot, if you roll that tape back, you'll see a whole series of mistakes done tactically by the officer.
And it's always easy to look after the fact and say, should have done. And I guess a goal here, particularly with the publications that you're putting out, is to ingrain the scenarios and those skills so a person can more readily come to that in the heat of the moment.
Right. And the officers really can't be blamed. And you're going to see more officers countersuing when they get done for assault, saying, if I'm countersuing my department for failure to train. Because they get 60 to 70 hours in BC, 60 to 70 hours of tactical training in the police academy. And hairdressers get like 300.
Right.
CFL football players, I'm sure they get more than a couple hundred before they go into the big game there. And it's 60 hours. Yeah, that guy with a bleeding from the forehead, no shirt on crystal meth. There you go. There's 60 hours of training. Go and deal with that guy.
Well, then there's a fear factor because the officers go in. They may not have been into a physical altercation.
Everything looks like a nail when you got no skills, and they give you a hammer or a couple of hammers on your belt. That's all you're bringing to the fight.
There's a nail.
Yeah, the only fight you're bringing to it is the tools on your belt, and that's where you get this. It's called Gadget Reliance. People rely on the taser and OC, and those things fail. I mean, the battery's not charged, or the taser barbs don't make proper contact, or the pepper spray you got the kind of person that just can blink through that.
Right.
And so those things fail, but I find that your hands-on skills, if you're trained properly, are solid state. They generally don't fail. They may not work on everybody. Sometimes, you'll have to break away and punch, kick, shoot. There's no perfect set of tools that you can give somebody, and it's guaranteed to work on everybody. But police judo will work on the vast majority of people.
I remember years ago, this one guy, he had got into a fight, and he was in martial arts, and he thought, okay, here's my chance. I'm going to practice some of the stuff I know, right? And he was using judo chops, so judo chop to the neck. And he's like, it surprised me how ineffective those were in the scheme of things. And I just started resorting to haymakers, essentially. And I'm wondering if in your progress as you're going through things, were there things that were commonly taught that you later looked at and said, man, those don't work at all?
Oh, gosh. I look back to some of the older training manuals, and how did they survive? The level of techniques, or the kind of techniques they're teaching, are horrible. Even in the Army, it's just horrible. They're difficult. They're ineffective, and they haven't sort of gotten around to figuring that out. But there's and even to this day, they're teaching things that are actually 30, 40 years old they're not that practical. So this is police judo is a bit of a breath of fresh air in terms of techniques. To be listed in our list of techniques, got to have a couple of factors. One is, it's got to be effective and practical. It's got to be ethical. It's got to be the person has to have an inability to attack you, or be attacked by other people. So that's why going to the ground is. We do some of that, and you can go to the ground if you have I've done it a few times with my partner watching me. Just get bored, I guess. I don't know, take somebody down.
Try something new.
Yeah, try something new. Just go to the ground with them just for fun. But invariably, the ground, like I say, is not the officer's friend.
Oh.
And so you want to try and avoid that, and like a ground fight. To get up as soon as possible and possibly to disengage or re-engage them in a more positive way. So there's been a number of techniques being taught over the years by different police academies, and that still go on to. I just met an RCMP officer in Burnaby. He's close to retirement. And he said he just did a 2-year stint at Depot, and he got out. And I said, why? Because I was teaching them things that I know wouldn't work.
Right.
So bending from the waist and all that stuff, I was trained as an instructor in that, and I never used it because
doesn't work.
Well, it works on totally compliant people, but that's not what this handcuff skills should apply to people that don't want to get arrested. Those that's the necessity of control and getting the cuffs on difficult people, not the people that have put them on themselves. It's nothing. So anyways, he was disillusioned by what he was told to teach, and so he left. And I said, well, good for you. But, that's today that's going on. And,
right.
And so it's not, 40 years ago, but it's 40 years ago tactics, and you can't blame the officers, because if they haven't been, they don't know anything about police judo. How are they going to pull that? Pull that out of their ass. So it's just like police were shooting mental people a couple decades ago.
Right.
So I was a non-firearm weapons expert for 18 years, and I was actually close to bringing in the taser into Canada, and Darren Lauer actually did it. But because the VPD at the time weren't interested in it, even though I demonstrated, Fawcett and I demonstrated for the ERT members.
Yeah.
It's just extra training, another tool, and we're not interested. So Darren Lauer picked it up, brought it in, and for dealing with mental people.
It helps.
Yes.
MHA.
And so the first inquiry that comes up after you shoot a mental person, the question will be, could you have done something else? And then the lawyer will say, well, isn't there a thing called the taser that Victoria is using?
Right.
So then you're liable. So once one police department adopts it, say in Canada, everyone else has to follow suit.
By default.
And we could have been that leader, but anyways, Victoria ended up stealing. Good for them. But but having said that, you can't. There's going to be some problems when police judo becomes more recognized. The same question's going to pop up.
Well,
why did you punch him, kick him, knee him, and all that stuff? Could you have done something else? No. Well, isn't police judo, it's going to be like that. And it's like, aren't there better techniques? Aren't there more, advanced or more modern techniques available that you could have done? And that's the kind of questions that are going to be asked in the future. And so, a police department should pick this kind of training up, because it's very practical, effective and tactical and ethical and all that other stuff. But they should also just pick it up because it's the right thing to do, and the tools are stronger than trying to knee striking somebody in the thigh when they offer resistance. Striking looks bad.
Yeah.
It's optically poor, and breaking the machine is a poor way of generating compliance.
Right.
Because now, we get into a fight like that, it's who can destroy who first.
Well, you can also turn on the whole survival instinct. They're like, holy crow, this really hurts. I'm in a hell of a lot of pain. You've gone too far. If you're not problem too far, and now you're in the fight that you didn't want to be.
Joint locking can cause pain too, but it's something you can dial up or dial down, whereas once the strike is out, it's whatever, it is what it is. So you can't, saying, oops, I hit too hard there. Sorry, let me take 50% of that pain back, or here, I'll fix your rib for you or something. But so there's some changes that have to be made in policing in terms of use of force, and police judo we're on the cusp of creating this new method of dealing with people. Now, it draws from a number of martial arts. It draws from already a number of police control. I used to say arrest and control tactics. And I flipped it around purposefully in my book. It's control and arrest tactics. You got to control you first, then the handcuffs come.
That's right.
So not arrest. You're under arrest and then try and control you. No. Like you're under arrest, and they go, no, I'm not, and he runs away. So you better grab him. You better control him first and saying, you're under arrest. I don't have to chase you.
Well, I like how the book is conscious of Hick's law, of course, where the number of options you have, your reaction time will decrease because your mind's going for all the different scenarios of what I could pull from me. And it'll concentrate on some basics and variations on those basics and other variations.
Right. So there's some techniques and concepts in here. I like teaching by concept rather than, I was in 1986, I went to, I think it was the Sydney Police Department, and there's a 5th degree black belt in Hapkido there.
Okay.
And he was the instructor. He was a civilian.
Sure.
Which is, by my estimation, is wrong. He should not be teaching, a civilian should not be teaching control and arrest tactics. Anyways, So I was just goofing around. We're just talking about techniques in general. I did this thing where you interlock your hands behind your head. It's not a technique we do anymore, and you squeeze the fingers together, and then the guy's hands are locked in there. And he says, he gets to one of his students, says, do it to him. So I did it, and the guy couldn't get away, and he goes, and he was telling me just before that, he says, there's a saying in Hapkido, there's 10,000 techniques in Hapkido. And at the time I was thinking, that's a dumb way to look at it. 10,000 techniques. So anyway, he does this thing, and he said he didn't see that before. And I said, there's a saying in Hapkido, there's 10,001 techniques in Hapkido. But that's a technique-driven thing, and the students are confused by the sheer number of variations. But if you look at joint locking, there's only like 4 things you can do. You got 4 fingers, only 4 things you can do. You can hyper extend it, hyper contract it. You can twist it or do a combination of those things.
Right.
That's it. So it doesn't matter if you're doing a finger bar, an arm bar, a leg bar, a back bend, or whatever. It's the same principles. You know, you got your fingers 3-segmented, your arms 3-segmented, your legs are 3-segmented. Even your body, if you can call your legs 1 segment, your torso 1, and your neck.
Sure.
It's all 3 segments. You can hyperextend it, hypercontract it, twist it, or a combination of those things. So
simple.
So now you say, okay, this finger bar is a variation of the arm bar. Oh, I get it. So now this technique number, 108. This is technique 109 for that thing. It's
technique 1.
No, it's just all of that one principle. So it's easier to remember, and then you can sort of invent things as you go because you're just looking for the essential principle behind the kind of control you want to generate. Now, if you've walked through these techniques, it's helpful, but at least you don't have to memorize each one as if they're separate. You're missing the point. And it's the commonality. I've been studying martial arts for over 50 years.
Yeah.
And I used to say, like different styles of karate. There's scores of them, but they're all the same. At the beginning, to a beginner, I'd say, "Oh no, we do our block this way, and we do the open hand." But it's all the same stuff. The principles, the techniques, they're just dressed up a little different. Sugar plum kung fu punches with one knuckle this way, and somebody else punches this way, and they do the vertical fist or whatever. But it's all a punch. It doesn't need a designation as a new style of martial art. It's just all the same. Whereas judo is just judo.
Right.
You see, there's somebody could do. There are many different ways of doing, say, an outer reap. Or you take the back leg and you flop them down. There's many ways of doing that. But rather than saying, "Oh, in our style of judo, we do the outer reap this way," no, they say bullshit. So at least the judo guys got it right. They say no, it's all the same. But police judo is a new martial art because the philosophy is totally different. In judo, better not be using this on the street. In police judo, saying you better use this on the street correctly in the course of your duties. Yeah. And judo is you pin the guy, you get him on the ground, which you don't want to be, and his back's on the ground. In policing, you want him face down, and you want to be standing above him or kneeling on him. Right. So everything's different about police judo, and the end game is to put handcuffs on somebody. It's probably the only martial art like that. The end game is not the double tap on the shoulder or whatever. It's to get him under control and on the ground and in handcuffs. So. Anyways, getting back to this Hapkido guy, so he's teaching in the police academy, has never been in probably in a real fight in his life, and yet he's teaching this theoretical stuff, and he's teaching it from look how much I know, and then they somehow. That stuff, the officer has to distill, well, yeah, he taught us that, but it's not very practical. Does he know that? Probably not. So, but it's part of the curriculum because he's teaching it. So you get into problems like that being the training is instructor-centric rather than being situationally centric, like what is needed on the street, not what the instructor knows, but what is actually needed. And that's... And we've done some work with, again, Sergeant Toby Hinton. He went into force options training before he retired, and he was doing the data mining and saying, well, okay, what's going on the street? How are officers being injured? What kind of techniques are being thrown at the officers? And, and if something's not working, like neck restraint, why isn't it working? So these kinds of things. And so the techniques being used on the street by the offenders, for example, can help drive the training. And so if there's a lot of officers being taken down by the popularity of MMA, and everybody thinks they're a big MMA star,
right?
The downtown east side or whatever, the gas town's a big octagon, and they just want to go out and do that. So maybe that's something you should train for, how to avoid being scooped by the legs or tackled or something. So, but that's that's here. In some other part of the country, it'd be something different. In states, it'd more likely, geez, the guy's reaching into his jacket. Right. You'd be a little bit worried that there's not a gun on the end of that hand. So we're in Canada, we don't have to worry about that much. More knives and things like that. But so your training has to reflect the problems that the officers encounter on the street. And handcuffing is an essential skill, and it's covered, in my view, just peripherally, almost like it's just incidentally. So you should be handcuffing everybody all the time in training, so you have some proficiency. And they just they get to the point where they're handcuffing and they've skipped that to save time, and yet they'll teach, I don't know, like knife defense just to tick that box, saying 18 years ago we taught him. It's 4 hours of knife defense, and I tick that box. What about handcuffing somebody? Why is this? You do the final frame analysis. He wasn't able to handcuff that person properly, and the other person's dead as a result of that ineptitude. So shouldn't the most common, the most likely thing be trained the most, and the least likely thing be trained the least? But. It's just like it's less likely in Canada that we shoot somebody. However, the repercussions of a bad shoot is different from a bad wrist lock. So there's a lot of training associated with firearms training, for example, than are, say, handcuffing, and
sure,
the chance of somebody being injured in the process of handcuffing is negligible, but if you let that thing slide to where the gun comes out, the final frame analysis, the officer might be justified. But had they been able to cut that violent encounter off by initial control, gaining control and maintaining control throughout the whole thing, people will get control, and as soon as they reach for their handcuffs, the guy busts loose because the technique is a two-handed technique of control. And then when they reach, now they've lost. And incidentally, every joint locking technique, you have to have pressure and counter pressure. You got to have both. In with a twist lock, which is one of the techniques in the book, you're pointing the elbow up. The counter pressure is gravity. Otherwise, you have one hand here, and you're doing a joint lock. You need, if you just go like this, thing's going to move. You have to have pressure and counter pressure. And so the guy's got him in this joint lock, a rear bent wrist lock, and then they go to reach for the handcuff. Now, there's no control, and the guy just spins out of it. So he had good control, but he lost it because the technique that he's using is not effective. It's not effective for doing one-hand control, whereas if you use a double twist lock, which is highly featured in this book, with one hand, I can take you to the ground, I can stand you up, I can sit you down. You could duct tape our hands together, and I can have you flip-flopping all over the place without ever releasing the grip. And it's the only technique out there that's like that. And I picked that up from the Royal Hong Kong Police Academy, and when I was in Hong Kong, and they did it in a very. The guy was an IQ, George Button. He's dead now, but he was a civilian, and he was teaching that, and it was very sort of one-dimensional technique. And I took it, and I invented a whole bunch of twist lock techniques that Aikido's never seen before. They wouldn't have to, because they don't go down that road. They do the double tap. That's the end of the session. Or they take the person down. They don't have to get them into handcuffs. And so our end game is in policing is to get them into handcuffs.
Right.
And without control. Without breaking them, hurting them if possible. So
yeah.
But so anyways, that's the essence of holding versus controlling versus hitting. In the optics of today's climate out there against police.
Do you have a bit of a go-to? So if you're you're in a situation, TACCOMs start to fail, you're going to have to go hands-on.
Oh, absolutely. I know where I'm going.
A go-to if you're dealing with somebody who you say, okay, this one might be a little bit of work.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I just got to, you assess the person. Like, the person's got long hair and he's yelling, you're not going to arrest me. I'm just looking, okay, I'll take him down over there. Grab him by the hair on the opposite side of the head, spin him around, whatever. But my go-to position has always been to grab the elbow and get into the blind spot. So if you're there, it's like on my back and I can't get you because you're holding on to me.
Right.
You're back there. It's
right.
like, it's the same thing as if you're coming up to a driver asking for his driver's license and registration. You don't stand directly in front of the open window, do you?
Right.
Because I think I'd go, no, I don't have my license, but you get shot in the face.
Right.
So you peer around the corner and, I'm not a criminal. Like, where you look, I don't know you. So now to shoot you, he has to take his right hand, get out the window, and you're along the side. That's a hard shot to make. So that's the blind spot when you're asking for the driver's license and registration. It's a safe place. So this is the same thing where you grab him by the elbow and you stay in that spot. So if he moves, you move. If he stays stationary, you grab him here and he turns into you and you don't move, well, he's going to crack you.
Right.
But if you stay there, it's just like if he's stronger than you, it's very annoying, and you could punch it and kick him at will if need be. But so being in that blind spot and grabbing him there, and quite often when people go a little bit ape shit on me, I'd grab him by the elbow and I'd put him up against the wall. I'd stand in the blind spot, and my free hand, I'd grab him by the throat and I'd push him into the wall.
Right.
So he can't dodge, he can't move.
Yeah.
He can't even drop down. He couldn't even drop down to the ground if that's his strategy. So sort of like a cross grab in essence. And then you can squeeze as much as you want. It's probably not recommended these days, but I'm just talking about in the early days. When I was discovering the safety benefits of being in that blind spot. That was my go-to position. I'd grab them, and then we'd have a talk. Right.
And a very receptive audience.
Right, a very receptive audience.
So what do you think it's going to take? VPD is already incorporating some of this into their training. What do you think it's going to take for other agencies to incorporate
Well, it's a good question because, like I say, police agencies are very parochial. Even Delta has their own penchant for doing things like they love the PPCT stuff and Brazilian ground fighting, I think, and things like that. And every agency says, well, my instructors, they know what's best for us, and fair enough.
Sure.
But I think that the VPD has, through Adam Palmer, the chief there, he loves both police judo and odd squad, and he's mandated that all the police recruits have to do 40 hours of police judo training before they go to the academy and get their 60.
Wow.
And we've had anecdotal feedback saying they learned actually quite a bit in that 40 hours, and they really loved that training. And so we're hoping that there's going to be some rub off at the academy level. I think my book's floating around there now, so maybe
Good.
the guys will pick up on some of this stuff. But it's just a matter of it's promoting things like my book and this HCUF, this online training that's coming out this fall. And then police agencies have to be aware that there's some alternatives before they will actually move towards it. But Chief Palmer's stance on police judo is backing our training is a good example. But like I say, it just takes a trainer in there that doesn't like the concept, or he's doing his own martial art and doesn't realize that he's handicapping other officers by teaching what he knows instead of what they need to know. So,
yeah, and I guess with any more high-profile cases coming up, the more attention that this will get will just be raising in people's minds, like, isn't there another way? Or there other options, and why didn't you look at them? Why'd you discount them if you did look at them?
Right, yeah. I mean, and even doing things like simply handcuffing. There's that native elder and his granddaughter at the bank. You remember that?
Oh, right. Yes.
So, but because the officers are going, well, we handcuff everybody. That's which is not the right answer. You're still using force, so you have to account for why you're handcuffing them. And they got it in their mind that they're supposed to handcuff everybody, and it just went sideways and looks bad.
Yes.
It
looks bad at a number of levels.
Yeah. So, but and you'll see. There's things being taught. There's a thing called the spear, where you do a surprise reaction. The baseball bat breaks, and the guys in the crowd, and then you turn that this response reaction into a positive thing, and then you push back on the person to try and keep them off of you. The last time I was surprised like that was never. So again, it's a civilian teaching it to police. The police, they gobble it up. They got a certificate on their wall. The trainers call it certification or intimidation through certification.
Right.
They got their 1 week spear course up the thing, but no one's ever done it. Mm-hmm. No one. Mm-hmm. And yet we teach the twist lock, and all the recruits are doing it. They're doing it in the jail all the time. Mm-hmm. I got one recruit. He said he did it 80 times in the last 5 months. In the skids,
because it works.
But it works.
Yeah.
So I can show you video. I can show you still pictures. There's a bunch of them in my book here. It's not some. Show me a picture or a video of somebody doing a spear. It doesn't exist. So, but it's a nice tight little package, and like I say, the instructor get the
certification.
Yeah. So the instructor looks like he's got broad range of experience, but the puddle's only like an inch deep, so, and they don't know, they don't know the value or the impracticality of such techniques. They just learn what somebody's is teaching. They like it. They get their certificate. And it's simple enough, and they can run with it and teach it. Mm-hmm. Police judo, not so much. Mm-hmm. Yeah, there's a lot to it, but there's the
essence of it.
Yeah, you can pull out techniques and stuff like that, but you're not getting police judo, certification in a weekend. No. So, but
I think in like the litigious society that we live in, people just love and glom on to certificates. Oh, you're certified in PPCT, you're certified in OC, whatever it might be.
Right.
You're covered. Okay, department's on its side, and we want to hire more people that have all of these certifications. And I'm wondering if that's ever going to reach a tipping point of the.
Well, like I say, I've mentioned before that there's police officers starting to think about. Countersuing the department for failure to train. Mm-hmm. And part of that failure to train could be well, you're training me, but it's
Poorly.
useless. Yeah.
Right.
You're training me, and the techniques don't work, and you're sending me out there. It's like that RCMP guy. He quit Depot because he's being told to teach things that he knows doesn't work. In reality, it looks good on paper, and it's a nice, slick little program. But he realizes that no, I'm not serving my brother officer or sister officer very well by sending them out and having them to try and use that technique on the street in reality.
I just got to wonder about the world of litigation that opens up too when somebody leaves based on their assertion that what's being taught isn't going to be something that's effective, provided that's communicated to the department, to the detachment. They've now got a responsibility to turn around and say, okay, we've looked into it. We discount your thoughts because A, B, and C. Because if they don't, somebody else will get themselves hurt, and they've got this precedent of somebody leaving. I mean, that the optics of that are terrible. I got to wonder. Yeah, and of course we talk about the RCMP and municipal police and the federal police. There are going to be two completely different beasts as well. And I think the municipal police are able to perhaps respond to issues
more quicker,
faster.
It's like the RCMP is like trying to turn around a ocean liner. They very bureaucratic organization, and police in general, they're very traditional kind of agencies. They're not really ones to think outside the box really quickly or really well. They want sort of the status quo, and they're really a bit reluctant about trying something new. Like for example, when we started Odd Squad in '97, we were borderline heretics.
Right.
Wow. 7 police officers, they want to educate youth in particular about drugs and gangs, and we're picking up cameras. And
there's a thin blue line, right?
Oh, my God, yeah. They're going, whoa. Like, no, I mean, Odd Squad is about proactive policing. It's about, community policing. It's about doing something, thinking outside the box to try and solve a problem that you can't arrest your way out of. You can't arrest your way out of that. So, the best way is to try and prevent the bomb from blowing up in the first place rather than just mopping up the blood and the guts afterwards.
I remember when that started, and I remember hearing the different sides and different opinions, and everyone's like, well, good for them, but there's always that reluctance and hesitation and maybe fear of this being exposed, and what if there's light shone on it?
Yeah, and we broke a lot of ice there for police carrying cameras and even for these reality shows to come out subsequent to that. We were always the one, police used to be always the ones holding the door open for the filmmaker. And they went, wait a minute, we can do this. So we'll make our own videos. And it was, the rank and file generally respected what we're doing when they understood what we're doing. And then there's a few people in the police department, their noses were out of joint, or they weren't part of it, creating that, and they're jealous. And and you think the higher up that people go, the more refined they are as a person, and not necessarily so. The Peter Principle, just proves that. So, and we had a former mayor wanted Toby and I fired.
Really?
They spent they put 3 lawyers on it, spent like $120,000 to see if Odd Squad could have a voice independent of the police department, and the answer was, yes, we can. And but when you're at the tip of the spear, you got to expect some resistance. You're doing things, you're changing things, you're out of this conservative group, and you're going to get some resistance. There are going to be people that once they see how the tip cuts, they're going, that's cutting in the right direction. I like that. But you get some other police mucky mucks that say, no, I don't. It's just they see it as more paperwork, or there's a bit of a risk involved or something, and they don't want to do that.
Right.
So
Well, you were right there, ground level, odd squad when that started up.
Yeah. It's like it was. I'm sort of the creative seed behind both Odd Squad and Police Judo, and
Right.
Toby's the worker bee. he takes stuff and runs with it, But initially on
Good for him. Good for Toby.
in Odd Squad, we were both at it for really hard. We were going 90 miles an hour. We were working 7 days a week, and just thinking nothing about grabbing a camera and going out to Surrey on our day off at 2:00 in the morning to, videotape an addict who just come down after a 3-day crystal meth run type thing. And, stuff like that is, it's just a tremendous amount of work. But it's paid off in the long run. We begged, borrowed, and stolen whatever we can to keep ourselves going. We don't get any federal money or provincial money. We just do fundraisers, and they drop more than $1 million a day in the skids. And if we'd have 1% of that, it would be rolling in dough.
Well, you've got a whole team now, on Odd Squad?
Oh, yeah. We've lost, we started off originally with 7 guys, and then very early on, we picked up Chris Graham doing the hockey. He had a hockey program running parallel to ours. Was educating hockey players, Junior A, about the perils of drug abuse and things like that. And Brian Shipper was sort of the quiet behind-the-scenes guy, just always helping us out. And then a couple of the Odd Squad guys dropped out fairly quickly. And then we've picked up a few other people. Doug Spencer doing the gang stuff. He's amazing. Guy does so many presentations. And we picked up younger people like Constable Brendan Frick. He was a police judo. I know he's a police judo black belt, and he does a tremendous amount with Odd Squad, and just a wonderful young constable. So we have a new generation of people coming up into Odd Squad because Toby and I are getting a little long in the tooth. I'm going to be 70 in February, and Toby's 10 years behind me. We have Mark Steinkamp. He's a little bit behind Toby, and so.
What's a driving force between creating all of these new sort of programs, these ideologies, the directions? The Odd Squad was kind of revolutionary, particularly around here in Vancouver. I don't know of other places that were doing it.
It's unique in the world.
There you go. The police judo is something that I haven't seen.
Again, unique in the world.
Right.
I mean, it's just, I think if you could have had the same group of people like Toby and Brian and Mark and myself and whomever on the police judo side of things, we could have been, working Left Testicle, Saskatchewan, and we made another arrest again. That's 2 for the year.
Yeah.
No, so there's no necessity there, and there's no invention. But since we're armpit deep in human misery, and the drug and the stuff that we saw down there, arresting so many people, and the human behavior at its worst, it's just. If anybody should have PTSD, it should be like Toby and I and Mark, and we spent a lot of time in the skids. But the end game there, or end result of all that is, let's try and be creative and think outside the box and see if there's another way of tackling this, because the way it's being done is not really effective, or it's not practical. And so, you got the Skid Road there on one side of the fence. We got trying to keep other people from becoming drug addicted and humanizing the addicts. They just didn't choose to be a drug addict, really. And then the other side of the fence is like the police that deal with them. We want to keep them safe by giving them superior tactics. We also want these superior tactics are going to keep the drug addicts safe. They say they're not getting their arms broken, their jaw broken, and stuff like that because they're whacked out.
Yeah.
And so you basically you want to have these people treated like if it was a family member. It happened to me once. I had someone in my family that was suicidal and drinking and on drugs, and I sent the RCMP over, and I'm going, oh God, I hope it's somebody that's well grounded and have good technique versus somebody that, oh my God, this guy wants to beat us up, and then he's going to get his arm broken, and I've sent, or worse. So, it's kind of like that. So we've out of that miserable neighborhood is full of dysfunction. There's some good people down there as well. My Uncle Frank lived down there for his whole adult life, and he was an alcoholic and never got into trouble. But he died a few years ago. But anyways, there's good people down there, but there's a lot of people there that are quite frankly, dysfunctional, and they go there because the rent's cheap. They can lose themselves. The government's going to look after them, and they fit in because no one cares if you got a mental illness or a criminal or whatever. They just don't give a shit. And as much as they like to call it a neighborhood, that same neighborhood that put I end up staking myself out in my last year on the job to get robbed down there because there's a civilian brought in some footage shot from top of a building of these two older people getting robbed.
Right.
Violently robbed. And he showed us this, and I said, this isn't right. So Toby and I hatched a plan called Old Timer, and I staked myself out in the laneway to be robbed. And I actually wore a helmet because I thought I was going to get boot fucked. And we had a camera in there. It was controlled. My hand was in a bandage, and I can control the hidden microphone and control the video camera. And we filmed them from across the laneway too. Was in the two worst neighborhood laneways in the skids. And 2 nights in a row, and we nailed 2 robbery crews.
Yeah.
And I had a flash roll of some money, and I bought some crack and showed them the money, and oh man, you shouldn't show your money around here, And the guy was being
sausage.
the guy wasn't being friendly to me. He just didn't want any competition when he was going to rob me later, and he did. And so they cut the strap off my neck like a man purse underneath the jacket, and I thought I was going to get a razor blade off my neck. Had an ambulance standing a block away, but that was the most frightening thing I did in my career. And I had PTSD for about 3 weeks. I went immediately to Thailand, and I was walking around, bumbling around, banging my head on things and falling off of curbs, and just it's like having a chipped tooth. Your tongue goes over that chipped portion. It's gone. Leave it alone. But it's like day, night.
That's a good explanation.
I would rerun the scenarios in my head, and sometimes they would change. What if the guy had a slit my throat? What if he booted me in the face? What if this happened? It was quite frightening. So I did get a commendation for it, but it was for meritorious service because the unmentioned person in the police department, who I would just say is plain jealous, says you can't premeditate bravery. I'm going, isn't that the essence of bravery? Where you say, this is going to hurt, this could hurt.
I'm doing it anyways.
I'm doing it anyways. That's bravery, not just running around the corner. And the bank robber, and you pull out your gun and they drop their gun. You would get it for bravery, for stopping a bank robbery. But anyways.
No, that's, the anticipation of the event, the anticipation of the fight is always worse than the fight, right?
Yeah, exactly. I'm 45 minutes, I'm waiting, I had a little bean in my ear, and Toby's telling me what's going on. Okay, they're forming a human shield. They've got 5 people standing around you. I'm laying on a piece of cardboard in the laneway, having bought some crack, pretend to smoke it and pass out, which doesn't really make a lot of sense. But anyway, they bought it. They say, the guy's for kneeling down. He's grabbed your strap and he's sawing away at your thing. It's just like 45 minutes like that both nights. I was just like, oh God, when's it going to happen? Yeah. And I just had one good hand. I was going to sit up. That was the signal that I've been robbed. Yeah. I just sit up, and the guy was sawing away, and then he left and. No, Al hasn't given the signal yet, so he went around the corner. The knife he had was too dull, so he bought a razor blade so he could saw the strap right off my neck. Right. And then the robbery went down.
You couldn't make it easy for him to get the thing off.
God. But you talk about, you're inside your head, and I'm pretending to be asleep, snoring, and the stuff that runs through your head, your mind bounces around, and
Yeah, the funny games it plays.
yeah, the other police officer behind panic bars,
Right.
in the hotel. Panic bar. What is that word, panic? Yeah, it's like panic, strong arming, oh yeah, this, that. Oh, it's just like stuff would run through my head. And even scenarios, I'd be trying to shut my mind off to not worry about it. I got to concentrate on snoring here. I couldn't let my mind get too preoccupied. And then I'm hearing the play-by-play in my ear underneath my helmet, and I'm going, oh, God, I wonder how this is going to end up. But, yeah, then I said old-timer, and they used the footage. It went around the North American continent at least.
Yeah?
It was a pretty classic operation. But
Very interesting.
But that was even that was difficult to pass because we had to bring in the use of force or the undercover trainer to look at our operational plan to make sure that. Well, fuck! I'm in my last year, so I'm expendable. But they didn't want the paperwork saying, "Oh, he died."
Poor Al.
Al got his neck slashed and he's dead. So it's a lot of paperwork there. But he wanted to make sure that we could do it. And he looked at my skill set and my own undercover time in strike force and things like that, and realized that he had a good plan. I'm a good decoy, and so we went with it. But somebody else could have just shut it down. They'd say, no, it's too dangerous. Being conservative, I was surprised actually they okayed it, but maybe they didn't like me.
Made a couple enemies.
Yeah, well, yeah. There you go.
I think having the background in the police judo and having the physical capabilities probably really helped with the mental resiliency.
Yeah, in those days it wasn't. It was in 2005, so it was sort of predates police judo
Just
per
martial
se.
arts,
But
yeah.
but my martial arts, I was quite confident of my physical abilities. Even though I was a year from retirement, I was, my physical decline was. On its way, happening. Even to this day, I'm still fit.
You're 70 and you're fit.
No, I'm still running and doing all kinds of things, doing weights and doing martial arts. But tactically, mentally, I could go back into patrol tomorrow at age 70. Mm-hmm. Because my mind, I still read case law. I teach police judo. I go on police training courses.
Right.
And I go, what the fuck are you doing here? You retired a long time ago. Yeah, but I do go for walk-alongs or ride-alongs.
It keeps your work relevant too.
Yeah, exactly. I want to be say, 18 years ago when I was on the job, this is what we did. I want to be sort of current. And then, of course, my use of force, having to write this book about police use of force. I have to be. This is cutting edge.
Right.
This is not 40 years ago.
Yeah.
This is cutting edge stuff.
Right.
And so, like I say, I could go back on the street tomorrow and do quite well.
Well, I have a feeling there's a lot of officers out there that will benefit greatly from this book and the subsequent books that you've alluded to both in this podcast and in this book.
Yeah. So from this, I'm going to police are lazy and cheap.
Sure.
So this book's, I don't know, $86 or something. It's expensive and for good reason.
What's your life worth?
Yeah.
What's a lawsuit worth?
Yeah.
Right?
But so and they don't want to not wade through all this stuff, or let alone try and practice it. So it might be a bit much for the average flatfoot, but I'm going to make from this. I'm going to do a précis of it and call it essential joint locking techniques for law enforcement. It'll be like arresting people for dummies, But so that'll be coming out next year. So it'll be maybe a third of the size of this book. So rather than doing, 4 different shoulder cranks to arrest somebody, I'll just teach one. And there's basically in here, I just broke down roughly 8 forms of resistance. You grab an arm, he can bend his arm, he can straighten his arm, he could pull away, he could push into you, he could drop straight to the ground. He could do all these, 8 try and attack you. Yeah. So 8 different kinds of resistance. And I'm going, okay, just learn one,
Yeah.
Just one counter. So if you grab somebody, they can do one of those 8 things. Now, in the academy, they might teach you 2. So when I say, well, if you're smart, you learn all 8. 8. If you learn 6, then act surprised if one of the other 2 come out. So that's all you have to do. And they can look at this book and say, I don't like this. I love this technique. And I'm gonna use that technique. And it's pictures are easy enough to follow, and there's arrows.
Totally.
And it's well written.
Yeah.
And my first book was entitled Chinna, which is a joint locking, seizing and controlling in ground fighting, because I was coming from the Sanshou aspect of wushu, the Chinese martial arts, the judo without that's like throwing without the ground fighting.
Right.
And then I was coming into judo and the ground fighting. And so I had all these A-type personality policemen trying to rip my head off. And then, so I'd grab a finger and I'd bend it or whatever, trying to get myself out of a headlock or something and say, well, you can't do that. I said, well, what do you mean? I just did it. And I said, no, you can't do that. It's against the rules. Oh, we have rules here. And then that's why I was sort of disillusioned by, even though judo is a good basic martial art, I was almost ready to quit judo at the police station because of its rule boundness. And then I was finding I was going to the police academy during the day, sometimes all day. And then I'd come to the judo class at night with Brian Chipper's judo class, and I'm saying, this is what we're doing at the academy, just for the police that are here. And then when I was, at the academy, I going, this is what we're doing in the judo class that would be good.
Right.
And then I'm going back and forth. I'm going, well, wait a minute. Why don't I just combine the essence of judo, the practical stuff out of judo, take away all forms of traditionalism and rules and all that stuff, anything to do with sports, strip it bare.
Yep.
And so, and then combine it with the control and arrest techniques. And then I went, there's my martial art.
There it is.
I couldn't find it. And I got certain techniques from different agencies, but there it is. We'll create Toby and I decided to create this new martial art, call it police judo, and spend a lot of time developing it. So in essence, it becomes a really good, solid method of controlling and arresting people.
Well, where can people get this book?
Well, I think you just go on Amazon.ca, or alarsenaultbooks.com. There's a page. I'm going to start writing a blog on that, Al Arsenault Books, plural.
I'll put the links up in the description.
For sure. And the description below, hit the like button.
Yeah, hit the like button. There you go.
Yeah.
Don't forget to subscribe.
Yeah, exactly. So it's been a real interesting journey from, starting in, 1986, even though I started my martial arts training in 71. But it became more practical, and I sought out the more practical methods of taking people into custody, and I dropped karate because
this wasn't working.
done, but I can't break people.
Yeah.
I fell back on some joint locking techniques I learned at, jiu-jitsu seminars, for example. And then I got into, like I say, the wushu, the chinna, the joint locking, and specifically that, which I, from Master Shouyu Liang, who was my instructor, and he instilled in me, and as with some other instructors, about the beauty of joint locking. And so I just refined those techniques and incorporated a bunch of them into the control and arrest tactics that the police were already doing. And it's been a good diffusion of old and new techniques. And like I say, it really makes, if you read the book, it really makes it clear the importance of controlling somebody versus holding them, and the difference between sport techniques and street techniques,
Right.
and staying on your feet versus going to the ground. These are all really, really basic things that I'm still shocked that police trainers don't seem to appreciate. They don't.
You'd think they'd figure it out pretty quick when they go on the
just
street.
jump on. They just follow their martial arts training blindly, almost. There's the odd guy. He's trained in jiu-jitsu, but they get it. You talk to them for 2 minutes, they get it. Yeah. But they just haven't had much opportunity to break out of it. So
it's that linear or rigidity of thought that a lot of people can get into, particularly in law enforcement. If there's
imagine for me, I was 3rd degree black belt in karate, and I come into a judo club. I hated being on the ground. It was so foreign to me. I was just strictly stand-up guy, and punching and kicking, and it was horrible. And getting close to sweaty men and their gis, and it just drove me nuts. But it was because I was partnered with Toby, and he'd drag me to these judo classes. And so I stuck with it, and then I came to appreciate the beauty of judo in terms of being able to manipulate the human body to get them on the ground and control them. And then, but like I say, I was turned off by the techniques that were impractical for street use. But then, police judo resolved that, because we just dumped those techniques, impractical techniques, took the good stuff out of judo. So it's like I was a little bit reluctant about calling, as Toby's suggestion, calling it police judo, the new martial art. I would have better preferred something like defendu or something, so that there's no preconception of, you hear police judo and the police go, oh, you're running around in pajamas. No. It's
a gentle way, right?
The gentle way and all the stuff. And they think of this, it's a sport. It's an Olympic sport. And,
it's so far from
people
that.
People would think, why do I want to learn a sport type thing, even though Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu is a sport, but
sure.
But I don't know. I thought it would turn police off. But then I thought, and then on the other hand, I thought, well, how will the judo community react?
Right.
There's only one form of judo, and now we're saying
we're appropriating the name a little bit.
Police judo. Well, Professor Kano, when he invented judo back in 1883, 82, 83. He turned us back. In Japan, there's hundreds of styles of jujutsu. That's a precursor to jujitsu. And he turned us back on all those and saying, no, I want to create something that he was a high school teacher, and he wanted to teach. We didn't even call it a sport back in those. He wanted to teach something that school kids could learn. And his essence was to create a better citizen. Make them it's polishing the mirror to make a better person. You can see yourself more clearly and be a decent human being. Well, if Professor Kano were alive today, he's saying, well, then the judo people, if they had said, oh, Professor, they've bastardized judo. Oh, yeah? What did they do? Oh, they're trying to make better police officers using superior technique, and part of their grading concept is that they have to do a proven history of volunteerism, they're trying not to hurt people, and they're trying to be, yeah, so what's your point? What's your point? Yeah, sounds good. So he would be clapping. If he were alive today, I guarantee, because I know 4 8th degree black belts. So that's about as high up as you can get. You might see a 9th dan floating around, but so I know 4 personally that love the concept of police judo. They loved how we've used, and they're proud that the word judo is in our new martial art of police judo. They actually appreciate it because they can say, look at police are using the basics. Yeah. And these 8th degree black belts, they're interested in, they're going to buy this, but they're interested in this book.
Right.
Because people often come to them saying, well, we want to learn something that's like self-defense. Because it's all the heavy-duty people are all immersed in sports aspect. And then somebody says, oh, we want to learn the street applications of this stuff. And they a little weak on that. And then going, well, look at this.
It's right here.
So, they've taken they've taken the basics of judo and they've made it into the street applications, which reminds me of another story. Again, I was minding my own business in Puerto Vallarta. And I sent Toby an email saying, I just before I left, I read an article, I wish I had saved it, in a newspaper about a fifth-degree black belt in karate. He was pushing his daughter in a stroller, went into a bank, and realized that there's a bank robbery going down. So he grabbed the guy at the teller in a headlock, and he said in an interview afterwards, he said, if the second guy hadn't have pepper sprayed me, I would have beat the shit out of all three of them. The last guy had a gun. And rather than being contrite and saying, oh my God, I put my daughter in danger, anybody else in the bank in danger, I got into something, I didn't see the big picture, I didn't know what I was doing, why would I have a 180-pound anchor in my arm, and I didn't know how to defend against the pepper spray, and I didn't even see the third guy, it's like, God, I'm so glad things worked out. But he was saying he would beat the shit out of all three of them if things being a little differently. Oh, like this? Contestant number 1, are you ready? Contestant number 2, you're ready. Contestant number 3, you ready? Head to me. Okay, let's fight. He would have beat the shit out of all three of them. I'm positive.
Sure.
If no gun, no pepper spray, maybe. But unfortunately, the bank robbery wasn't a sanctioned event, a sporting event. And I thought, what an idiot. Rather than being contrite, and I'm saying, that guy needs to be street-proofed. He's confusing sport and street, which is a deadly error to me. So I typed to Toby, I said, we should put on a course of street-proofing your martial art. Doesn't matter what it is. Come to us. And we have the expertise in using force in terms of actually applying it, about knowing the law, yada, yada. And then 3 weeks later, Joel Johnston, he's a retired sergeant. He was a use of force expert. Still is. And he said, I know a fellow from this organization, a karate organization, and they're looking to teach them self-defense techniques because their instructors are teaching self-defense for women. But none of the instructors, these are fifth dans, by the way, and up, none of them have been in a street fight. And so I'm not sure if they're teaching them what's practical or what's effective or whatever. And I went...
Good for them for coming.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, for seeing that. And I said, well, no, we're not... I said, I don't think we should be teaching these guys what to do because they're going to karatecize whatever we teach them. And they should. They should probably, if they're training a certain way, they should probably fall on their strong points rather than trying to learn ground fighting or throwing. Might be a bit much. So maybe there's things, just simple things they can do, like don't kick to the head because you're off balance.
Second you got the leg.
Your leg can get grabbed, instead of, punching to the head with a closed fist, palm heel strike so you don't break your knuckles. The bases hit the
hard to soft,
hard,
soft to hard.
hard parts of your body, soft parts of their body. This awareness, which is 90% of the self-defense game. So he said, okay, so the head of the organization put it to all the karate schools, different styles, and saying, we want to do this. And they got their nose out of joint. But police judo is going to teach us how to sort of, fight. So, and then there's some pushback because they were getting money from the government agencies. So they had to put it into open tender so that they're not just hiring their friends.
Right.
So they did. I said, if you find me, Toby, Hinton, and Joel Johnson, if you find somebody who's like Toby and I started police judo, new martial art. We both have, me, Joel, and Toby probably over 70, 80 years of policing experience, probably over 125 years. I got 50 years of martial arts experience alone, like over 100 years of, say, martial arts background. Joel's an expert in use of force. I mean,
try and find this.
Yeah, and I was he's a prohibited weapons expert, and I said if you can find, and we've been in scores of street altercations. If you can find somebody with those qualifications, you hire them. And he used to apologize. Oh, I'm sorry. I just gotta, kowtow to these guys. So anyways, they had 10, highly competent martial artists come in for their interviews. I can do this. I can do this. This is my qualifications, and I've taught self-defense for women and other things and all this stuff, and I got trained provincial champions or Canadian champions or whatever. They do all this, and they asked them all one question. You know what that question was?
Have you ever been in a fight?
That's right. Ever been in a fight? And they said, all 10 of them said no. So we got the contract.
There you go.
But those 10 who came in for the interview, they need to be street-proofed because they don't get it. They're saying, I've watched videos, I've been in the dojo, and I've done martial arts techniques, and I'm pretty good at it. And going, yeah, but how about when the guy's biting you in the arm, you're doing neck restraint, and the guy bites you in the arm, or number 2 guy's kicking you in the head, and you're putting neck restraint, and he's pulling out a knife and stabbing you in the guts. It's like,
how's it working?
Yeah, how's that working for you? Well, you didn't even know about that. So you're going to teach people how to fail on the street. I mean, the street's got no rules. There's it's a lack of morality and ethics, and so anyways, those guys need to be street proof because they're dangerous. They're teaching stuff that's dojo based, rather than street based.
And there's a lot of that out there. There really is.
Oh yeah, well you've seen it yourself. I mean, all your viewers too have probably seen guys teaching gun defenses and knife defenses, and they're just so bad. And or handcuffing even. I'm just going
scratching your head. How can they do that?
Yeah, I was watching one video, and the guy was putting on a pair of handcuffs. Honest to God, I think he had them both on in a second. 1 second. It was like that. And I go, holy crap. But I just going, what a useless skill. And I can tell you that the guy who's doing that I didn't know his background, he cannot be a police officer. No officer would spend any amount of time doing something that's totally useless for realistic and practical purposes.
Yeah.
So you had to have your hands exactly spaced this much apart. You had to have, and you have that thing. It's like it was totally a useless skill, but it was impressive. But it's all the guy saying, "No, I'm not putting my hands behind your back." Raises his hands up. Then what?
Right.
Your technique is it's like bending over at the waist and doing all this stuff. If he's doing that, then get him to put the handcuffs on himself. So it's like, here's a useless skill that no one will ever use, and practice it. It's dumb.
Well, I'm looking at the time here, and I want to make sure that we're still got the listeners from A to Z.
Sure, they haven't nodded off. Third rum of Coke into it.
There you go. Is there anything else we should be covering before we wrap it up?
Oh, geez. You're going to have me back for a few more podcasts because I get so much to talk about.
There's some stories I want to ask you about. I told you at the Get Out that I asked around a little bit if anyone had any stories. And they're like, Al Arsenault? Yeah, I got some Al stories. It's like, okay, let's hear them. And everyone went quiet. So you have some friends out there?
Track them down. No, I'll track them down. And
they know you'll track them down.
I can kill them with an eyelash, or I know more ways to kill them than they know how to die, or I'll hit them so hard they'll be the first person in heaven in a wheelchair type of stuff, But I know I'm slowing down. They'll probably catch me when I'm 80, and they'll stick my cane through my wheelchair spokes and have their way with me. But I'm I've got a bit of a reputation. If you dig down deep enough, Toby and I invariably been called renegades or cowboy cops, and the journalist is all happy and they screwed us around. And Toby and I are high fiving each other. It's like, wow, this is good. They think they're ruining our careers, but they realize that we enjoy the notoriety.
Sure.
And so we stepped out of the box. We're thinking. Thinking ahead, thinking differently, and it hasn't been an easy road. Like say, having a previous mayor wanting us both fired and all stuff. So we've done a lot of innovative things in terms of educating youth through Odd Squad and educating police through police judo, and it's been a bit of a struggle, and it hasn't been easy all the time. But I think that after Odd Squad, like say, we just finished our 25th year anniversary gala, and so obviously we're doing something right there.
Totally
and
worth
police
it.
judo is 2010 plus. Getting in there, and the roots go back decades.
Absolutely worth it.
So we must be doing some things right, and so it's. I got a million stories. I've been around the world a few times, and
yes, you have,
around the block for sure.
I'd love to dig into those as well. I really, really appreciate you coming on to share those stories and the comprehensive joint locking techniques in the book that you've put out. And it's, I'm not all the way through it, but I've gone through a good portion of it. Very well worth it. Anybody out there that's on the fence, get it. It's worth the money. There's techniques in there that will help you out, whether you're law enforcement or not law enforcement. Definitely go pick this book up.
Oh, appreciate it. Yeah. Thank you. Thanks for having me here.
Thanks so much for being on the Silvercore podcast.